Hi, I'm John Calarco, Holistic Health and Performance Coach. If you want to build strong glutes, hamstrings, and lower back muscles, improve the posture of your spine and pelvis, and prevent lower back and hip pain, then the Romanian Deadlift, or RDL for short, is going to be a great exercise for you. Unleash your power, achieve your potential. The RDL trains the hip hinge movement pattern, which is one of the 7 fundamental human movement patterns and the most fundamental pattern for the lower body, as well as anti-flexion of the core and lumbar spine, which is the lower spine. The other 2 lower body movement patterns are squatting and lunging. The hip hinge is the most fundamental lower body movement pattern because having a strong hip hinge lays a great foundation for you to build your strongest squat and lunge patterns for 2 reasons. Number 1, the hip hinge significantly loads and strengthens the primary hip extensor muscles, which are the glutes, hamstrings, and the adductor magnus, which are also among the biggest and strongest muscles in the body, along with strengthening the spinal erector muscles, which contribute significantly to the strength of your squat and lunge patterns. Number 2, to perform your strongest squat and lunge, the movement is initiated with a simultaneous hip hinge and knee bend, which allows you to load your glutes and hamstrings effectively in combination with your quads. The RDL also lays a great foundation for your conventional deadlift because the RDL trains the top 3/4 or so of the deadlift. The difference between the RDL and the deadlift is the deadlift starts at the floor and requires more knee bend to perform, whereas the RDL starts from a standing position and is performed with only a 10 to 20 degree knee bend throughout the entire range of motion. The anti-flexion function of the core is also trained at a high level during the RDL, as the spinal erectors, which are a group of muscles that primarily extend the spine, work hard to maintain a neutral spine position and prevent flexion and rounding of the spine during the movement. The transverse abdominis, which is the deepest layer of the core, also plays a significant role in stabilizing the spine during the RDL. This is why the RDL builds a strong lower back and core along with strong glutes and hamstrings. In previous videos, I've shown you how to do a lot of exercises that would allow you to develop the fundamental mobility and stability to more easily perform the RDL correctly. Those exercises were the band-assisted hamstring stretch, the leg lowering exercise, the half kneeling hip flexor stretch, the half kneeling Pallof press, the glute bridge, and the dowel hip hinge. So I'd highly recommend mastering those exercises first, especially the dowel hip hinge, before doing the weighted RDL I'm going to show you and teach you in this video today to ensure you can perform it with the best technique possible. The links to those videos are here on the video and in the description below. Now, let's go through how to perform the RDL with perfect technique. To set up, grab your weights, whether you're using dumbbells, kettlebells, or even a barbell or hex bar. Set your feet directly under your hips, or maybe slightly wider, and set your hips in either a neutral position or externally rotate the hips 5 to 10 degrees, depending on what allows you to reach the deepest range of hip flexion. The vast majority of people are going to be able to reach a deeper range of hip flexion by externally rotating the hip joint out about 10 degrees. Once your foot and hip position are set, press your toes firmly into the ground. Make sure you're in a neutral pelvis and spine position with the pelvis directly under you, abs ready for a punch in the stomach, and chin tucked back. Then, set your shoulders down away from your ears to engage your lats, which will play a key role in stabilizing the shoulders and spine during the movement. Initiate the RDL by inhaling through the nose and shifting your weight back into your hips and heels. Keep your toes pressed down while bending the knees slightly, about 10 to 20 degrees. Hinge back until you can't flex your hips and stretch your hamstrings anymore. Then reverse the movement by exhaling through the mouth with pursed lips and driving through the glutes and hamstrings to fully extend the hips, contracting your glutes all the way through to the top as you return to the start position. The breathing technique will be slightly different if you're lifting heavy weights for max strength and power in a lower rep range of about 1 to 5 reps. In this scenario, the best way to breathe throughout the exercise is by inhaling at the top position, bracing your core like you're ready for a punch in the stomach, and then holding your breath until you reverse the movement and drive your hips forward or until you return to the start position, depending on which time feels best for you to exhale. Of course, you should feel the RDL primarily working the glutes, hamstrings, adductor magnus, and the spinal erector muscles on the back. You should also feel a stretch in the glutes and hamstrings when you reach the back position of the movement. Oftentimes when people are doing the RDL, especially for the first few times, and they feel the lower back muscles getting tense, they get concerned, but this is totally normal. It's just the spinal erector muscles working to prevent the spine from flexing and maintain the neutral spine. If you're using a barbell instead of dumbbells, kettlebells, or even a hex bar, then you're going to put a bit more demand on the back muscles to maintain the neutral spine, since the weight is going to be further from your center of gravity. So if your intention is to maximize the core and lower back strengthening you get from your RDL, then the barbell is going to be the best option for you. But if you want to minimize the demand on the lower back, then dumbbells, kettlebells, or a hex bar are the best option for you, because you can keep the weight closer to your center of gravity, and that's going to put less stress and demand on the lower back muscles. Grip strength also becomes an important factor during the RDL, especially as you develop your strength to the point where your grip gets tired before your legs do. When using the barbell, you can use a reverse grip, which will help your grip last longer, but ultimately, no matter what type of weights you're using, you're going to need wrist straps to solve this problem. Now, let's go over the 3 most common mistakes to avoid during the RDL. The first common mistake is losing the neutral spine by overflexing or overextending the spine at any point throughout the exercise. Overflexing the spine usually occurs on the way back as the weight is attempting to pull you forward into an overflexed position. Overextending can happen on the way back or forward if you're trying too hard to prevent rounding of the spine. And it can happen at the top position if you're overextending the lower back on the finish instead of fully extending the glutes and hips. These mistakes can cause excessive forces on the spine, which can predispose it to injury. The second common mistake is losing the shoulder pack position, which will allow the weight to move away from the body, which also can contribute to the first mistake of overflexing the spine. The third mistake is bending the knees too much and taking tension off of the glutes and hamstrings, shifting weight and load onto the quads, which is not the training effect we want to get from the RDL. So make sure to avoid these 3 common mistakes to get the most out of the exercise and prevent injury. There are 2 variations of the RDL that provide unique training benefits. The first is the single leg RDL, which is the exact same movement pattern, only performed on one leg at a time. This changes the exercise from a bilateral 2-leg exercise to a unilateral 1-leg exercise, allowing you to develop the strength of each individual leg on its own. The single leg stance also adds a significant demand and training effect on the foot and lower leg muscles as they work to balance and stabilize during the exercise. It also creates more of a demand on the core to resist rotation of the spine and pelvis. The second variation is the staggered stance RDL, which is like the single leg RDL. It also allows us to challenge each leg more individually. Only in the staggered stance, we have about 10 to 20% of our weight on the back leg to eliminate the balance and stability demand, which allows you to load each individual leg with heavier weights so you can get more of a true strength or even power training stimulus. The amount of sets and repetitions and frequency you should perform for the RDL will depend on your training experience and goals. If you're a beginner, it's going to be best to start with 2 to 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps 2 to 3 times per week, so you can develop the technical skill to perform the exercise correctly and build some strength endurance. If your training experience is more intermediate to advanced and your goals are general strength and hypertrophy to get bigger muscles, then 3 to 4 sets of 6 to 12 reps 1 to 2 times per week is going to be best for you. If your goals are to develop maximum strength and power, then 3 to 6 sets of 1 to 5 reps 1 to 2 times per week is the best approach for you. It's also best to perform a full body exercise like this earlier in your workout so there isn't any excess fatigue that would decrease the quality of technique and intensity. Now that you know how to perform the RDL with perfect technique, it's time to go practice and train the exercise so you can actually execute it with perfect technique. Build your hip hinge pattern and a strong lower back, glutes, and hamstrings. If you want to be coached to perform not only the RDL, but all of your strength exercises with perfect technique, along with a holistic, individualized health and fitness program designed to help you sustainably lose 15 to 40 plus pounds and develop high-level strength and conditioning that improves posture and prevents injury, then hit the link in the description to learn more about PHP coaching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and share it with a friend who would be interested in watching this video as well. Then make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on the future videos I have coming your way on how to develop high-level strength and conditioning. Unleash your power, achieve your potential.